Hello kids, it's me again, back with another video. If you spent any amount of time on this here website, you will likely have come across a few sponsored videos. One pretty popular sponsor on YouTube aside from Raid Shadow Legends or NordVPN is a service called HelloFresh. I'm gonna make a controversial yet brave admission. I usually skip sponsorships and videos. I know, sinful, but out of all of them I've seen, HelloFresh is the only one that I actually wanted to use and do use, and today I'm going to tell you about it without being paid by HelloFresh. However, if they want to sponsor me, they totally could. I'm very affordable HelloFresh. My business email is listed. So if you're curious or considering it, then I'll try to give you the pros and cons. However, keep in mind that I've only tried HelloFresh, so I don't know how it stacks up against similar and cheaper services. So a little background, and you've likely heard this spiel before. HelloFresh is a meal delivery service where you select your meals from a preset list every week, and they ship them to your door in a temperature-controlled box. Each meal is pre-portioned, meaning there's only enough ingredients for however many servings you have, and all you have to do is cut up some vegetables and get to cooking. So, why did I decide to start HelloFresh? Well, at the end of November of last year, I took a look at my bank statements and saw that I had spent a lot of money on takeout that month, like almost $300, on top of what I was spending on groceries. Around that time, my job was giving me quite a bit of stress, and I was just kind of going through it in general, and I just didn't feel like cooking after working at a soul-crushing job. Getting takeout is easy, but also really expensive. Once my coins stopped stacking up like I need them to, I was like, okay, I need to get it together. In the past, I would have fits and starts with cooking. I love to cook, but my main issues were finding new things to cook, finding the time and energy to cook, and dealing with leftovers. I have a few tried and true recipes, but even those get old after a while. So I'm the type of person that really needs variety in the things I eat. I don't know why, and I kind of hate it, but I can only tolerate leftovers for maybe 1 or 2 days before I just don't want to eat it anymore. Another thing about me is that I hate being wasteful. Once I'd get tired of leftovers, they'd usually end up in the trash. This issue also arose when buying groceries. I'd only need a small quantity of a specific ingredient, but they don't sell spices by the teaspoonful, so I'd end up with stuff I can't even use again, or produce that goes bad because I only need like 1/8 of a bag of lettuce. Keep in mind, I'm only cooking for myself, so it's not like I need to buy enough to feed a family. Enter HelloFresh. By then, I'd seen hundreds of sponsor spots for them in videos and decided I wanted to try out a meal delivery service. I looked at Blue Apron, which I think is their main competitor, Dinnerly, which touts itself as the affordable meal delivery service, and finally HelloFresh. Initially, I wanted to use Dinnerly, but for whatever reason, the first box would only be delivered in like mid-December, so I'd still had to figure something out in the interim, which I didn't like. I believe Blue Apron also, for whatever reason, would only be available in 2 or 3 weeks, and HelloFresh would get to me the quickest in 1 week, so that's why I chose it. That, and because I knew I could get a discount code. My plan is the quick and easy plan for 2 people and 3 meals a week, which is 6 servings. You may be wondering, Aaron, there are 7 days in a week, and you're supposed to eat 3 square meals a day. This is insufficient. And to that, I would say, 1, I still have 1 special meal a week, usually on Sundays, where I order takeout from my favorite local restaurants. Gotta stimulate the local economy, you know. And 2, I was never a breakfast person because eating that early in the day makes me sick. My lunches usually consist of sandwiches or something else equally light, and well, dinner is dinner. So I'm going to be breaking down a few things in this review. Cost, food variety and quality, and ease of use. First is cost. Big ups to the boys at Internet Today for being sponsored by HelloFresh and getting me the hookup. I was able to get the first few weeks at a nice discount. My first box was only $22, and the next few discounted boxes were around $50, but the regular price is $75.90 a week, which will of course go up if you choose to have more people or more servings. For 1 person, that price might be a little steep, and you might think this is not at all cost effective, which is totally understandable, but the main thing to keep in mind here is that you're paying more for the convenience than the food. Technically speaking, 1 serving of a specific meal is cheaper at the grocery store than HelloFresh, but you can't buy 1 serving's worth of ingredients at the grocery store. So because of that, I'm totally willing to pay the price. As I mentioned before, there is an affordable option out there in Dinnerly, which is only about $50 a week, but I don't know how it stacks up. Second is variety and quality. I've been using HelloFresh every week since November 30th and haven't skipped any weeks, and have only repeated maybe 2 or 3 recipes because I really like them. That's 14 weeks as I am recording this, and roughly 40 different meals. Now, I will say a lot of these are variations of the same thing. For instance, I've had a lot of tacos with HelloFresh, but they are easy to make and they all slap real hard, so I kind of don't mind. I really like being able to go through the week's menu and pick out what I like and not have to think about it too hard, and I've also never gotten a recipe that I didn't like. Some of them were just okay, but none of them were bad, and they must have some real pros creating these recipes because everything is always so flavorful. They also have a premium menu with fancy stuff like steak and fish, and I've only used it twice because it costs extra, but they go hard as well. Unless you're a picky eater, which I am not, unless they're leftovers, you cannot go wrong with these recipes. I've never gotten food that is gone bad or expired or anything like that, and from that I would assume quality control is pretty strict. Also, they assemble your box about a day before it's delivered, and it ships and delivers on the same day with insulation and ice in the cardboard box. Sometimes I've had meat arrive partially frozen, so yeah, I'd say it's pretty fresh. I've also never gotten the wrong order or had my box be delayed more than a couple hours, and there have been some severe weather events in these past 14 weeks, so that's even more impressive, I think. One day, I was at home when my box was delivered, and I got to meet my UPS man, who was very nice. Thankfully, HelloFresh uses UPS, because if they used FedEx, I probably wouldn't get my food until days after it was supposed to get here. I don't know. FedEx might actually be nice where you live, but here, they're garbage. Lastly, is ease of use. I've said this before, and I'll say it until I die. If you can follow directions, you can cook. Listen, I don't want to be mean, but I really don't understand people with poor reading comprehension skills acting like cooking is just so hard. Bestie, it's not the act of cooking, it's you. Anyway, each box comes with printed out cards with directions on them for cooking, and pictures with each step, which are very easy to follow. Nothing I've made has required complicated skills other than the use of a knife, I guess, and sometimes I'll need things like a zester or a grater or a potato masher, which I do not own, but aside from that, all you really need are the usual things that are already in your kitchen, like pots and pans and spatulas and whatnot. They don't send you stuff like salt, pepper, oil, butter, or sugar, so you'll have to already have those, but everything else is provided. Also, if you want to freestyle on some recipes, like adding or subtracting certain ingredients, I suppose you could, but I personally don't that much. The only time I diverge on recipes is when cilantro is involved, because ew.
Cycling, sailing, taekwondo, and tennis round out the series. With each game being...
And when it calls for rice to be cooked, because I own a rice cooker and would much rather do it that way because it's easier. Also, hot cooking tip, buy a rice cooker. You can get a cheap one. It changes the game, seriously. Mine was less than $25 and it's pink. What more could you want? Maybe one that's purple, I guess. Now, one thing I can't really comment on is the nutritional value of these meals. If you're on a specialized diet or have dietary restrictions or are trying to be a bodybuilder or something, you might need to look a little bit into it to see if it fits your needs, but as a garden variety food enjoyer, I'll say it gets the job done. To me, I feel like the portions are adequately sized as well. Not too much, not too little. So in conclusion, yes, I think it's expensive, but for me, it's very much worth it, and I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. Personally, if you're willing to pay the price, I would recommend it. And they didn't pay me to say that, but they could. They could. I ran a poll on my channel to see if any of my viewers had used a meal delivery service before, and as I am recording this, 8 people have answered, with the majority saying no and the remainder saying that they had, but stopped. If you've used or currently use HelloFresh or something similar, I'd like to hear from you as well. Do you enjoy it? Would you recommend it? What have been your experiences? Let me know in the comments down below. That'll be it for me today. Ooh, I'm on the other side now. Okay. Follow me on Twitter. Read my Medium articles. I might have a new one soon. I don't know yet. And listen to my podcast. Now, if you excuse me, I have to do some cooking. Drag Race comes on soon.